City Life, it's good to have you here with us today. Today on the program, it's Māori Language Week, so we hear about that. Warren from Headline is in studio, Nick from Rolleston Vets, and we chat movies with John Hunter. But first, Dan Coward from the New Zealand Fire Service. Good to have you here.
Yeah, morning.
So, I see you brought along a certificate. Tell me about this.
Yeah, a bit of show and tell this morning.
Yeah?
This was a commendation that was given to our brigade last night, presented by the Minister of Internal Affairs, Nathan Ngāi, and our Commission chairperson, Dame Margaret Beasley, and our National Commander. And we had some 70-odd brigades from around the South Island, far away as the West Coast, and we held a function at the Wigram Air Force Museum, and it was all about recommending and commending and recognising the work that everybody had done during the earthquake. So it was a really neat occasion, a lot of people, a few hundred, and we all got presented these commendations for the work and effort we've done.
That's amazing. How important was this to be recognised like this?
Fundamental. Whilst we do the job that we do, and whilst our volunteers do what they do in their communities, what everybody did during February was just amazing, sort of over and above what anybody trains for or ever thinks they're going to have to do. So the last time we had the September earthquake, we had a presentation of certificates and we got together as a group to say thanks. This time round it was a lot more formal. It was very much about recognising the team efforts. It was very much about saying to everybody, thank you very much for what you've done, and taking away something like this to be able to proudly display back in the station. So yeah, really fantastic night. What
was the atmosphere like among all the firefighters and the brigades?
Oh, it was great. Everybody really enjoyed getting together, having a catch up. For a lot of people it's the first time they've caught up since the earthquake, especially those from the West Coast that came over. So it was really good, and everybody just really enjoyed talking. Everybody enjoyed, we got a wonderful group photo of everybody sitting there holding the certificates. So a really neat night, really great atmosphere, and I think everybody really pleased to just have that moment to sort of take stock and reflect on everything and say thanks.
And I guess there would have been some firefighters still on duty?
Yeah, there were. There were still some there from some of our stations that were on duty, and it was good to see them there, even though they couldn't partake in some of the refreshments. But it was just a really neat atmosphere, really good.
So what's the focus been this week, or, you know?
Well, look, we've, believe it or not, we've had a drop in fire calls. It's really pleasing to say that. We've had statistically, we've had an 18% drop in the number of incidents that we've attended. So we're seeing a trend going down. We're seeing the trend of house fires going down, which is really positive. It means people are listening, people are taking that extra care at home, really taking stock of what's really important for them. So we're really pleased about that. We still see a high incident of deliberately lit fires, and in the last week those deliberately lit fires have been associated and linked to places of care, so hospitals and those sorts of things. So we're worried about that. We're worried that people are prepared to sort of carry out that action and that activity in those sorts of environments. So we're going to have an increased focus with both the police and DHB around what we need to be doing for the safety of people.
So this is still going, these arsons?
Yeah. Unfortunately Christchurch seems to have a really high incident of them. We seem to have a number of people that take pleasure. We always talk about our opportunist people that, you know, take the opportunity to do something, but these are a lot more calculated in terms of what activities they're doing. One really pleasing thing is normally we would see at this time of the year a lot of student parties still going on, and the students have really taken on board our message with them around don't burn your couch, don't set fire to your fence, just, you know, try and behave. And we haven't had to attend any major incidents with the students, so we're really pleased, and we hope that they continue with that sort of approach over the remainder of the year.
Are you still having to respond to calls in regard to the, you know, the aftermath of earthquakes and aftershocks?
They're slowly petering off, so we can probably account for 4 calls, and out of our 183 that we've attended in the last week, probably only 4 that we can attribute to people finding further damaged chimneys or further unsafe walls as a result of probably the June 13 aftershock. So we're seeing it drop, we're seeing a massive drop, and that's really positive because it means people have got their homes to a point where they are safe, and they're working through that process. So yeah, really pleased.
What about winter warming, winter heat, how people are heating themselves at the moment? Is that becoming an issue with?
Well, funnily enough, we had one call this week where, due to the actions and faulty equipment of one of those gas heaters, people got injured and had to be taken to hospital. So it's a real timely reminder that if you've still got the old gas heaters inside your home, they're not designed to have clothes draped over them. You've got to take care. You've got to make sure that your seal's working properly. It's really important. And the same with all heating. We have the metre heater rule. Have all things, all clothes, all items at least 1 metre from your heat source.
Okay. And you brought another prop with you.
I have.
I love props.
There, look, this is our Keep It Beating shirt.
That's
just
cool.
really promoting the fact that, smoke alarms save lives. And what we're going to be looking to do is over the next few months we're going to be really engaging with the community about what do they think they need from their future fire stations as we look to rebuild our entire infrastructure. And so we're going to be setting up an email address so people can give us ideas.
Okay.
And one of the things we're going to be doing in a couple of months is once we've captured all that information is draw a name out of the hat, give them a bit of a prize pack and shirt included, and just say thanks for giving us some feedback around what you think your future fire station should look like in Christchurch.
So this is feedback we can do now, is this still
yeah,
to
look,
come?
I think by next week we'll have that website and we'll have the system all set ready to go. And yeah, we'll be really looking forward to getting people's views on what they think we should look like and what we should be doing into the future.
Okay, you're talking about websites.
Yes.
What's on your website that we can go to and sort of interact with?
Oh look, we've got a number of things at the moment. We've got the escape plans in your home, which I know we've had a crack at doing.
Yeah.
There is other fire safety tips and games for the families. So that's all around where do you put your smoke alarms and some interactive.
Great.
For the business owners, we have a special page set up for Christchurch and for the earthquake. So for business owners, it's around how we can help them from a business perspective, ensuring safety within their workplace and those sorts of things. So a lot of information there specifically for Christchurch, but also for others to have a look at around general fire safety information.
Great, and that's NZ...
www.fire.org.nz.
Easy, fire.org.nz.
Yeah.
Great. Dan, good to see you. See you next week.
Will do.
Now I'd like to welcome back to City Life Warren from the Headliner Business Magazine. Good to have you back here.
Good morning.
Now, how big of an effect have the Canterbury earthquakes had on the national economy?
Surprisingly, a little less than we expected. The week has seen the GDP numbers come out, that's the gross domestic product numbers for the country, and it appears that the earthquakes affected the national books by about only 0.5%. It could have been so much worse, and in fact in other big natural disasters around the world it has been much more devastating in terms of an economic impact. Everybody's holding their breath a little bit though, the confidence levels are still pretty fragile. And this week we've seen what's called the NZIER survey out on business confidence. And that's where they ask companies, what do you think about the next quarter coming up and is it going to be any better for you? Well, considering where we've been, it had to be better, and it was, and we came up. So the headlines say confidence is up, but it really is coming up from a very low level. In fact, not getting into how these numbers have worked out, because it's a little complicated to explain that, but we were at about minus 19% against the bar line, if you like. We've come up to -3 in Canterbury, so it's still pretty negative. Around the rest of the country, they're up from -3 to +3. So everybody thinks, well, we're going in the right direction, we're heading for recovery. Everybody else has got a Rugby World Cup. We hope to get a little bit of a backwash of that. I'm sure we shall. But overall, people are pretty cautious, and that's why you see interest rates still flatlining.
Okay. There's been a surprising amount of support for Christchurch from overseas. What can you tell me about this?
Well, I was at a wonderful function on Monday night, July the 4th. The American ambassador had a big swing ding out at our Clearwater Golf Club. He gave out a lot of awards, which you've probably seen in the local media, for services rendered by Cantabrians during the time we had a VIP delegation here from the United States at that point. The USNZ Business Council was meeting in Christchurch. But then in a lot of the exchanges that occurred, he referred to the support coming through from Americans in terms of the appeal internationally for the Christchurch Earthquake Relief Fund. And the numbers reveal are quite staggering, that 20% of the money coming from overseas is coming from Americans. Kids are collecting a few dimes here and flicking them into a jar, and the money is still coming out of the States. It was great to see, and it was recognised on the night that the Americans actually have played quite a significant role.
That's amazing, isn't it? Now, at the moment, getting reinsurance is becoming a major issue for some organisations.
Yes, I guess if you start at the high level, take the City Council, for example. We've got $2 billion worth of assets that they own. They've covered about $500 million of that in terms of reinsurance, and they're going knocking on the doors in London looking for the rest. So, people will say, what does that mean? Well, reinsurance is a necessary risk of writing risk insurance. You pay your insurance premium, you make a claim against your insurance company, but they have to make a claim against somebody else. So they lay the risk off, if you like. So they lay it off in the reinsurance market. And that's why a few months ago you would have seen after the February earthquake, the world's richest man, Warren Buffett, or one of the world's richest men, saying, well, he'd taken a bit of a hit on the Christchurch earthquake. And that made people sit up on his AIG insurance company. So where are we at on it? Reinsurance is a big issue. The insurance companies are moving ahead of the event all of the time. Let's take Tahu. Tahu Insurance estimated its exposure to the February earthquake at about 350 million. And after that, it had to reset its reinsurance. Along comes June, and that reinsurance is yet to be set. They don't know what they'll have to pay for it. The costs of reinsurance are going up internationally. Insurers are a little bit less happy about the repetitiveness of the earthquakes in Christchurch. And so ultimately there will be reinsurance set. That's the nature of the world's business markets. What it means for us on the street, at home, reinsurance goes up, so do your premiums. So expect a substantial increase in your insurance premiums next year.
Do you mean they're going up?
Up, straight up.
Really?
Significantly up.
How much? By how much do you think?
Well, some media reports say 20 to 30%. Some analysts say a lot more.
Just in Christchurch?
I know they'll go up right across the country.
Gosh, all right. And there are some new developments promised on the property scene. Yeah,
let's just look at that. You know, the government, of course, has announced that 5,500 homes can take the choice of either relocating out of the eastern side of the town, and they've got 9 months to do that, to decide if they want to pick up on that. Well, let's take a rough equation and say 1/3 decide that they're going to rebuild. Say 1/3 decide they're going to buy other properties, and let's say 1/3 decide to leave. Just hypothetically. Now, you take the 1/3 they're going to rebuild, there's a lot of discussion about how much land there is available for sections. It's beginning to sink through that maybe the demand for sections is not going to be that dramatic as people have thought. There'll be plenty of land, I'm sure, to cope. If you look from the other side of town, you have the Wigram development going through. On the north side of town, a new development called Highfield developing. That's going to be quite significant. Very exciting development there. Preston's development, a biggie on the eastern side of Highfield, held up at the moment by zoning requirements. And then a little bit north of that, about 141 sections coming through on the new Sticks Mill Golf Resort. The development has been given the go. A few consents to go through. After ECAN's objection to the City Council's acceptance of a plan change was withdrawn quite suddenly, and interestingly has freed up that project to go forward. So out of that, quite a few close in the town. If you go to Kaipoi, there's more sections at Kaipoi, near the Kaipoi Golf Club. Wonderful subdivisions there. I'm not sure who did them, but whoever did, they deserve a pat on the back. They're very attractive. And then further north, you've got Pegasus, and people are now starting to look at Pegasus as an option. So I don't think we're going to have a crisis on sections. What we might have a bit of a problem with is how people pay for them.
Yeah, good point. All right, Headliners magazine, it's just come out this week.
Yes, we've got a front page story this week on Air New Zealand. Gee, are their flights full, and are they fully priced? You know, I go backwards and forwards quite a bit, and I think I was paying about $3.99 for 35 minutes out of Wellington to Christchurch the other night, and the planes are full. So that's a good story in there. And the other story that we're covering on the front cover is Charlie's Fruit Juice, where Mark Ellis and Stefan Ponica have sold their business.
Good on them.
Done very well out of that. So that's covered in there, and that edition and those stories go up on our website as well, which is a simple one. It's just www.headliner.co.nz.
All right, Warren, good to have you on the program.
Thanks very much.
We'll be back after this break. You're back with City Life, and I'd like to welcome Nick from Rolleston Vets. Good to have you here.
Hi.
So today we're talking about ageing pets.
Yes, I just thought we'd we'll bring to the forefront the importance of people taking their older pets to the vet for regular checkups. It's obviously a critical time in a pet's life, as it is in our lives when we're getting older, that things happen and things wear out and illnesses occur, and so just as the importance in us. In animals, it's much better if we can detect these things early and preserve their quality of life for as long as we can, because that's what it's all about, is keeping them happy for as long as we can, rather than squeezing every last ounce of life out of them. Yeah.
What sort of diseases do the older animal get?
There are a number of conditions that obviously are seen more frequently in the older animal. For instance, dental disease. You know, tartar and plaque build up over time, and so often it's not until the animal is ageing that we see dental disease get to a level where we really need to intervene. And sometimes that's despite good dental care throughout the dog's or cat's life. Sometimes these things just happen as the animal ages. And there is a lot of individual susceptibility to that. So certain individuals, for some reason, whether it be the nature of their saliva or what they're eating or how they're managed at home, it seems that certain individuals are much more prone to dental disease. And this brings its own issues with it, I guess, is, for instance, dental disease. These animals are likely to require anaesthesia. I talked a bit about that a few weeks ago. So, you know, it can raise concerns, but it's important to tackle these things early. So dental disease is one of the more important ones. And one of the other conditions that's very, very common, obviously, is joint disease. Just like us, as pets, dogs and cats age, dogs in particular, we get arthritis developing often, particularly in dogs that have had a very, very active life. Cats, we're starting to become better at detecting the symptoms associated with arthritis. We think that it is fairly common in ageing cats, but just they're better at masking the symptoms, and sometimes the symptoms are a little bit more subtle, like cats that just don't want to jump as often. The spine is a very prone site for arthritis in cats, whereas the distal or the end of the legs and the limbs in dogs are more important. So it can be more difficult to detect these problems in cats, and hence the importance of having regular checkups with the vet, so we can discuss these issues with owners and maybe get an inclination that this might be happening.
Can you get sort of prescription for things like arthritis and joint disease? Yes,
definitely, and many ageing animals, we do wonders for their quality of life by masking the pain associated with arthritis with prescription medicines. So it would be a relatively common approach to need to put these animals on regular pain relief, sometimes for the rest of their life, and it can just do wonders for their well-being. There are other things that we sometimes have to do. Sometimes we put medicines into the joints of these animals if we're not getting good enough effect from prescription drugs. But yeah, that's what the importance of seeing your vet, because then we can discuss these options with the owner and pursue a plan of maintaining health and well-being. On top of that, we then can monitor things very, very regularly and make sure that the medication is doing what it should be and we're getting a benefit from it. And we can keep an eye on anything else that's happening inside the animal that may mean that we need to adjust the medication slightly. For instance, we may have a dog that develops some kidney issues as it ages, and as vets we may want to adjust medication regimes accordingly because of things like that. So yeah, very, very important to get those regular checks. There are a number of other conditions that can crop up. In cats in particular, we can get some hormonal problems. We can get very, very commonly actually a thyroid disease. So the thyroid hormone regulates the speed at which the body metabolises things, and it's actually, I think, one of the most common middle to older age diseases in cats at the moment is a disease where a little benign tumour forms on the thyroid gland and produces too much excessive thyroid hormone. So these sort of things need to be detected and are quite curable, in fact, if they're diagnosed correctly. And on top of that, we have other conditions that result in cats losing condition and looking a bit scrawny. The thyroid illness is one of them. Kidney disease is another. Diabetes. All of those, if can't be cured, definitely managed for many, many years and improve quality of life, often to an extent that another disease comes along and causes problems later on in life. So
We've only got a short amount of time left, so what are some of the other things that can affect older animals?
okay, so heart disease, particularly in dogs.
Yeah.
We do get a secondary heart disease due to the secondary to the thyroid illness that I talked about in cats. Obviously, cancers. Cancers are, as we all get older, we all increase our chance of developing cancers. And just like us, they come about in a myriad of forms. But cancers are obviously better detected early because we can often cure these conditions if they're detected early enough. And I guess another one that we should quickly talk about before I finish up is mental diseases. So senility, a real issue in dogs and cats.
Wow.
And again, something that medically we can often do a lot about. So
That's amazing.
yeah, so you know, it's a very important time of life for these pets.
Okay.
And I think a minimum of annual checkups, and in some cases 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Follow your vet's instructions and requests, and I think that, you know, the preservation of the welfare of pets in this age group can be really looked after extremely well these days.
Just finally, how old does an animal have to be, a cat or a dog, when you think, okay, it's time, we've got to start taking them for an annual checkup?
Yes. They should always get an annual checkup, generally, right from day one.
Okay.
We do have an age group, for instance, in dogs between about the age of 1 and 7 or 8, where we see very little problems, but we do sometimes pick up problems. So the 8-year-old onward, I would say, is the geriatric period for a dog, and a period that needs increased diligence, I guess is the word. And in cats, I would say that we could extend that for 2 years. So cats over the age of 10 onwards, I would say that's the area where we need to be a little bit more diligent in checkups.
All right, Nick, good to have you here on the program. See you
Great.
next week.
Okay.
We'll be back after this break. You're back with City Life, and I'd like to welcome back to the program John, and we're here to talk about stress today. Now let's talk about chronic stress.
Well, connected, of course, with the earthquake being the first one back there in September, and then we had February, and now we've got June. People are inundated with pressure from all sides, and what it shows up as is it shows up as functional failure. Now, I'll explain that a little bit. If you look at the biomedical model, we're seen as a bit like a very sophisticated machine, right? But you find that within some of the complementary and alternative medicine areas, the focus isn't on that mechanical component. It's more on it as more like an ecosystem. Chiropractic sees the body as being run by a part of the unconscious mind, which we refer to as the body's innate intelligence. And that is how the body organises all of its assets to get the best possible level of function, right? If you look at that functionality, what it means is that although each component sort of has a specialty area, like the diaphragm is our main breathing muscle, right? It's got a specialty area. It can do other things and helps other aspects of the body's operation. Again, go back to the diaphragm. Whenever we're lifting something really heavy, what do? We hold our breath. And we do that so that we can bring the abdominal contents into play as a hydraulic column when we connect the bony ribcage to the bony pelvis, take strain off the spine, increases our capacity. So there you see, you know, that intelligent management of resources. One of the other aspects of the diaphragm is control of emotional expression. You don't see it so well in adults, but you see it in little children, you know, that sort of 3-year-old stage where the ego development's coming through and it's mine, I don't want to, I do, this is my place, etc., etc. And the child plays up a bit, and the parent says, now, you cut that out or I'll put you in your room. Before Sue Bradford, they used to say other things. And I'll give you something to cry about. And the kid goes, and then when they talk in a funny sort of voice like this. The emotion hasn't disappeared, they've just realised it's in their best interest to suppress it. So that suppression of emotional expression, a diaphragm role.
Yeah.
Now, you look at, the current situation we're in, we've got, the earthquakes have meant that people are under very high pressure, very high stress. Around them are other people under stress, you know, parents with children thinking, I can't show my emotions through. What's the diaphragm doing? It's tying up in that area. It shows up then functionally. And functionally, it will show up as this person will do a lot of deep sighing because the brain goes, take a breath.
Yeah.
Yes, because that diaphragm gets all tied up. So that if you find yourself going, then that's an indicator.
So that's why I do it.
That's why you do
Wow.
it. And you'll find that your stress
Okay.
levels have been a bit high before you do that. So the difficulty is if the body starts to concentrate on these support roles that, as opposed to the primary role of a particular aspect or organ, then you find that the primary role can start to diminish. So breathing diminishes, right? Now, what's showing up in my practice? A lot more disc injury. Disc injury is a relatively rare event. People go, oh, I've got a blown disc. That's pretty, people don't say, you don't say, I think I've got a blown disc, you know.
Yeah.
Severe pain in the leg, particularly below the knee.
Yeah.
Now, I would see 3 of those a year, and they're an external referral. They go out to an orthopaedic surgeon. They're not my problem.
Yeah.
We deal with functional back pain.
Yeah.
I've seen 3 of those in the last month.
Oh, really?
Obviously 3 in a year. Now, what's happening, of course, is that capacity of the diaphragm then to support the back starting to disappear. So we're seeing these functional failures show up right throughout the body.
So what can we do?
Well, firstly, to recognise it for what it is. Functional failure is not pathology, right? It's not disease. It's an ability of the body to deal with the demands upon it. So it shows up as your digestive system doesn't run as well as it should, you know, loose stools, constipation, low-grade nausea. Your sleep's not as good as it should be, right? Your energy's down, right? You've got migratory aches and pains. Problems that come and go with you now tend to come more than they tend to go. What can you do? Well, I would say firstly, if you're looking for a non-drug-based alternative, because if you've got one symptom, a drug may be, we wouldn't always see it as an ideal solution, but an effective solution. But if you've got a lot of symptoms, you don't want to be taking a drug for your loose stools and a drug for your sleep and a drug for your energy and a drug for your moods, because polypharmacy creates a real complexity of problems. You might like to look at going to an alternative practitioner, someone who's one of the complementary alternative medical practitioners who's looking at that more holistic approach. You know, your chiropractor, osteopath, acupuncturist, medical herbalist, homeopath, and to find the person, ask around your community and go, has anyone suffered these things? Because this is what I've got, and I want to find someone who can fix me. So that's one of the things you can do.
Yeah.
At a personal, at-home level, you do all the positive things and you avoid the negatives. None of this stuff's rocket science. We all know it. Get to bed early, right? Do exercise. Exercise is fantastic stuff. It recalibrates the body's movements, so it gets them back to a normality. It burns up cortisol, which is the stress hormone, so it actually takes you down from that high stress state. Breathe, big, deep breaths. If you're feeling really down and you've got that tight breathing thing, go into your room, close the door, get a water bottle because you get thirsty, put blankets over top of yourself and breathe and hard and fast as you can. You know, 12 deep breaths a minute. Do that for about 10 minutes. You'll probably burst into tears.
Really?
Yep, because the emotional suppression fails because you're not using your diaphragm to do it. That's a fantastic release just by itself. But, you know, talk to people. I would say communication is probably critical. Problem shared, problem halved. And other people also, we get a benefit from helping other people. So if someone says, I need help, sometimes it can actually help us to help others.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to start breathing.
That's the one.
John, always good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back after this break. You're back with City Life, and I'd like to welcome Brett from Ngāi Tahu. Welcome to City Life.
Tēnā koe.
So it's Māori Language Week. Tell me about the celebrations that are going on.
Yeah, lots of celebrations going on, sort of all over nationwide. As in Christchurch, I know in my work we've got a lot of Māori quizzes and kapaka and stuff going on. So definitely a lot of promoting of te reo Māori going on around Christchurch. So.
Cool. Is it within the schools as well?
Yeah, it is within the schools. Even tertiary institutions and that are providing services such as iwi off, where different iwi come and do well-known songs from their iwi, and they extend the invite to all secondary schools. So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
Why is this week so important for our community?
I would say because we really need to revitalise our language. So it is an official language in New Zealand and we want as many people to speak it as possible. And so just a week towards promoting our language and enjoying it is really important. So.
You'd think that it would be Māori Language Week every week, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, that'd be ideal, but obviously with the lack of te reo Māori speakers throughout New Zealand, it's quite hard to find other reo Māori speakers. So, yeah, definitely a challenge for the future, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, is this something that is being taught in primary schools now? Because I know that I was never taught any Māori in primary school or secondary school. Is this something that's going into education, into the streams now?
I believe it is slowly getting better over time. I know a lot of bilingual units have started up, and there are a lot of primary schools that are teaching te reo Māori. So,
how important is it that young people learn this language?
I would say very important. It's part of it's the essence of Māoritanga, I guess. It's part of our identity. So learning it, you also learn stuff like your whakapapa, your genealogy and where you're from and your roots. So it helps you to stand strong in both worlds, te ao Māori and te ao Pākehā.
Okay. So how, say for example, I would like to learn.
Yep.
How would I go about that?
We've actually started a new website, www.destinationreel.com, and we've encouraged all organisations, kura schools, tertiary institutions, all the way through to whānau and individuals to provide information on their te reo services. So that'd be a good start to look up a course where you could go and learn te reo Māori. But there's lots of opportunities to learn te reo, especially this week as well.
Yeah, definitely. So tell me about some of the things that are happening around the city this week.
I know of a lot of quiz nights. This weekend down in Dunedin, they've got an amazing race that's all in te reo. So it starts at the Octagon and that sort of goes on throughout the night. But lots of little things like that. And a lot of kapaka, like I said, and of course hangi and hakaris. So yeah.
Are you going to Dunedin yourself?
I'm not actually free this weekend, so I couldn't make it, but a lot of my team are, yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
What's the theme this year?
Manaakitanga is the theme. Manaakitanga, basically, my rough translation of it would be being hospitality, looking after people. So I think it came from, of course, the Rugby World Cup's coming up soon. So a lot of people are going to be coming over here, and it's just about looking after them and showing them what's unique to Aotearoa. Okay,
so let's look at Destination Reo.
Yep.
So what is it and how does it work? It's the website.
Yep, so it is a website. As part of our celebrations of Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori, Ngāi Tahu have launched this website on Monday. And it's basically a mapping tool powered by Google Maps that allows organisations to provide information about the services that they offer in te reo, or the support that they show towards te reo. So it's not, when we think of te reo, a lot of people think it's got to be native speaker or fluent, but it's more if your organisation or institution supports te reo Māori, then they can put their information onto our site and we can put them on the map.
Any other prizes?
There are prizes. So if you submit your information before the end of Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori, you go into the draw to win iPad 2, and we also have spot prizes. I think we've got 2 or 3 iPod touches that we're going to be giving away.
All right, I'm heading to their website. Brett, really good to have you here on the programme.
No worries, thank you.
Mainland Press is hot off the press today, and I'd like to welcome the editor, Chris Tobin. Good to have you here.
Hi, Canadian.
All right, this front page, tell me about this.
Yes, this is the Brooklands Volunteer Fire Brigade. They were among a large number of firefighters who were recognised with certificates of commendation for their work in the February 22 earthquake. The reason that was sort of highlighted this particular brigade, that these guys have really gone out of their way to do an enormous amount of work, and they've been personally affected to a large extent. On September 4, of the 25 brigade members, 24 of them had their houses severely damaged, and they've kept going.
Incredible,
on February 22, they were called into the city, and the job assigned to them was to go to the Durham Street Methodist Church and recover the bodies. A very tough task. They worked right through the night of February 22, recovering 3 bodies from there. So
that's awful.
they've now had their work recognised. But the drama's still ongoing for these people because the Brooklands township itself is very much under a cloud. It's orange stickered. 25% of the houses are red stickered. There's an uncertainty as to whether the township survives, whether in fact the brigade survives. But you know, it's a positive story. We're recognising them for the great work they've done in recent months.
What's it like covering a story like that? Because I know this was your story. Talking to the firefighters, what's that like?
Well, you admire them. You know, they're living with it every day. As John Reid, the fire chief, said, you know, they go out and they do the work, and then they've got to come home to their homes, which are, you know, damaged. And naturally enough, the families are stressed in those circumstances. So you admire these people. You know, they've got a huge community spirit. They want to stay out there and live their lives out there, but, you know, there's all this uncertainty.
That's right. All right, inside the paper this week. Right,
well, it's quite an interesting story about the old Cranmer's Square building, the Cranmer's Centre. A lot of the old historical material, a certain amount of the historical material was salvaged from the building. As people may know, it was the former site of Christchurch Girls High School for, I think, over 100 years. They managed to get the old school crest out and 1 or 2 other items, including people who carved their initials into certain parts of the framework in the building. So, yeah, and they're going to incorporate that into the existing, or the present, Christchurch Girls High site in Deans Avenue.
Oh, amazing.
Yes, we've got a story on the page 3 about a guy who's organising a big hug on September 4, and I think we all
big
need
hug.
that.
Sounds good.
We all need that at the moment, I think. Or many of us anyway.
So he's planning a big hug.
Yes, apparently. What is he doing? It's he hopes it's going to be the world's biggest group hug.
Oh.
So good luck to Andrew Mail. He's doing a great job there.
Sounds good.
It's further into the paper. Yes, I commented a bit in my column about the Brooklands situation. I think, you know, it's one of these things that it's part of journalism, I guess, that stories move on and people get sort of left behind. So it's good to go back occasionally to find out how these people are faring. Yeah. You know, the focus is now on the eastern suburbs and other devastated parts of the city, but September 4, there are other people still suffering from that.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got a very interesting story from Samantha Early, a reporter in the Bay Harbour area. She's, as we all know, there's huge numbers of containers out there, and a gentleman out there has come up with an idea to brighten them up. Rather than just having dull, grey sort of structures, he's suggested we put images on them, beautiful green lands, or forest land scenes, or the All Blacks. So
it's a great idea.
It's an innovative idea, and it brightens up the whole community.
Yeah, it sure does. Right. So now there's a competition further into the paper.
Not a competition as such. It's a new thing we're just starting. We want the young future sporting stars to send in their photos if they achieve a great feat at the weekend. You know, they score 3 tries, or they do something marvellous. They score 4 goals. We want to send them to send in a small photo of themselves with a few details of what they've achieved. It's called Coming Champs. And this week we've got Zach Atkinson. He's only 8, but he starred for the New Brighton under-9 white rugby side against Christchurch. What did he do? He scored 4 tries and made some amazing tackles. So we want to get some of this stuff into our paper. So if you've got a photo or someone who's done something great, just email tom@norwestnews.co.nz.
Great.
And we'll run it.
That's awesome. So 1 a week?
Yes, well, if we get a lot, we might run a lot of them.
Cool.
Who knows?
Chris, where can we get our Mainland Press?
All over the city, from dairies and supermarkets as well, and petrol stations, and, you know, it's out there, so
excellent.
I encourage people to grab a copy.
It sure is out there. I say everywhere I go. Good to have you on the programme. See you next week.
Thanks, Canadian.
After the break, we catch up with John Hunter. We're going to chat movies. You're back with City Life, and finally on the programme, movies with John Hunter, thanks to Hoyts. Good to have you here.
Good to be here.
Now, you're wearing shorts.
Yes.
It is winter. Do you know how cold it is out
It's supposed to be nor'westers today, isn't it? It's supposed to be 16 degrees today.
All right. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Seen any movies this week?
No, I haven't actually. I've been very naughty.
I saw, I want to say Terminator, but it wasn't. It was Transformers. Transformers 3.
Did you enjoy it?
I actually really liked it. There was a storyline.
Good.
I know. Well, at least I caught up with it. There was a bit of romance and a bit of action. Yeah. I quite liked it.
Good.
I was actually really surprised.
Well, actually, I have seen 2 of the movies we're talking about this morning, so
good.
I have background knowledge.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at this week?
Well, first of all, we were looking at Kung Fu Panda 2.
Cool.
Yes, and this year is like a movie of sequels. So Kung Fu Panda 2, it has Jack Black as Po, Kung Fu Panda, and Angelina Jolie as Tigress, and the old gang is back again. This time, Po is he's joined the band of Kung Fu masters, and he's out to get an old nemesis who is Lord Chen, with the voice by Gary Oldman. So yeah,
cool.
I enjoyed the movie.
Really?
Yeah, I actually sat there and thought, and it is in 3D. I thought,
okay,
I've seen this before. I'm sure I've seen this before, but it's a new movie. It's the plot sort of seemed the same, but after a while you sort of get involved in it. It was enjoyable.
If you hadn't seen the first one, will you understand the second one?
Yes, you will.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I think we've got a trailer.
We have got a trailer.
Should we look at it?
Yeah,
okay.
why not?
You guys, did you see that? I just was like, what?
Received a message
From the universe?
from a messenger.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Our greatest masters are disappearing. I fear this is the work of Lord Chen, who has unleashed a new kind of threat on our world. This could mean the end of Kung Fu.
But I just got Kung Fu.
And now you must save it. Take the 5. It is time for the next phase of your journey.
My fist hungers for justice. That was my fist.
We need to get to that tower without being spotted by those wolves.
Huh? Got it. Stealth mode.
I hate this sneaking around.
Hey. Huh?
I like it.
How can Kung Fu stop something that stops Kung Fu?
Here we go! Remember, Dragon Warrior, when you follow the noble path, anything is possible.
I'm freaking in.
Where are the signs?
What signs? Ah! So many signs.
That looks awesome.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go and see that.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. No, as I said, I enjoyed it. So that starts today.
Cool.
At Hoyt's Northlands, Hoyt's Riccarton, and Hornby Cinema 3.
Nice one.
Yeah.
All right. Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Now, this has got to be the end of it, is it?
This is the final chapter.
Oh my gosh, people must be so sad. I feel a bit sad as well.
I'm sad.
Yeah.
I'm sad because, admittedly, I've seen all the Harry Potters up till about 2005, 2006, and so I've got a few sort of to catch up on DVD
some
before.
gaps.
Yeah,
Okay.
fill in those gaps. So Deathly Hallows Part 2 follows obviously from Part 1, which came out late last year. This is again in 3D. And Harry and Ron and Hermione, they are... I'll just have quickly read my notes here. They are on the quest to defeat Lord Voldemort, who is played by Ralph Fiennes, and he looks very evil and very scary.
Okay.
And apparently they've got... he has 6 of these Horcruxes. Horcruxes, something like that. You'll know, Harry Potter fans, you'll know what I'm talking about. And they've got 3 of them have been destroyed, and they've got to find the other 3 to defeat the evil lord and to rid him of his powers.
Sounds dramatic.
I hope I got that right.
Me too.
Yeah. So we've got a trailer for that
Let's
too.
watch it.
Harry Potter, you have fought valiantly,
But you have allowed your friends to die for you rather than face me yourself. On this night, join me and confront your fate.
Come on! We can end this. I never wanted any of you to die for me. Come on, Tom. Let's finish this the way we started it. Together!
Only I can live forever.
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
That looks really dark.
It does.
Yeah.
Now, I'll hold this up. This is the latest Empire magazine, and all the details are in here. If you're struggling, if you want to sort of fill in some gaps and all that, there's a great sort of feature in there. You get this at the supermarket.
Good.
Yeah.
Empire.
It's helped me.
Okay. Okay. And now your very own theatre is showing.
My very own theatre.
This would be the debut film screening.
No, not actually.
For Majestic.
No, we had one last night.
Apologies.
Get Low. We rescreened that. It's a movie that had Bill Murray and Robert Duvall in it, about a millionaire who. An old eccentric millionaire who stages his own funeral. Anyway, that was last night. Next Wednesday we're screening The Conspirator, which has been screening at a couple of other theatres, so we thought we'd give it a go. So this is screening at Lincoln, Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m, all tickets $10. It's a Robert Redford movie, produced and directed, stars James McAvoy, Robin Wright, Kevin Kline, Tom Wilkinson, so a good cast. It's about Abraham Lincoln's assassination and the aftermath and the trial of a co-conspirator who is played by Robin Wright. She was Robin Wright Penn, used to be married to Sean Penn.
Right.
So she does I've seen this movie as well. It's I sort of struggled with her sort of performance, but I suppose it's from it's very much a period piece. And that's how they were in those days.
Exactly.
James McAvoy plays the attorney appointed by the courts to represent her, sort of reluctantly, because obviously she's a conspirator to the assassination of the president. And Kevin Kline plays Edwin Stanton. He's the Crown prosecutor.
Okay.
And some very good performances and well worth watching.
All right.
We've got a wee trailer for that too.
Let's have a look at that.
Lincoln's been shot.
One bullet may have killed our beloved president, but not one man!
You are charged with having received, entertained, harbored, aided, and assisted John Wilkes Booth, John H. Surratt, and their Confederates in traitorous and murderous conspiracy to kill Abraham Lincoln, Vice President Andrew Johnson, and Secretary of State William Seward. How do you plead?
I am innocent.
You aware the trial of the conspirators begins today? What are we to do? Defend one of the 8.
Her son John was Booth's right hand. You understand what you've been charged with? If found guilty, you could hang.
I am a Southerner and a devoted mother, but I am no assassin.
Your son was the only one who got away.
These are despicable people, the same sort you risked your life fighting against.
Someone must be held accountable. People want that.
That looks like my kind of movie.
Good.
Yeah.
Right. We'll see you at Lincoln next week.
All right. So next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday
get
night.
Our tickets.
Tickets on sale at the door. Cash sales only.
All right.
We'll open the doors at 7 o'clock. Movie starts at 7:30. No trailers. So just.
Awesome.
Yeah.
John, good to see you. See you next week.
You too, Kanita.
Okay, that is City Life for today. You can get in touch with us. You can email me, kanita@ctv.co.nz. You can call us 3777 or you can write to us, PO Box 1100 Christchurch. Now, you can watch CTV's City Life on demand. Just go to ctv.co.nz, find the big YouTube and click on that, and then you'll find all the City Life there. And we are on Facebook, CTV's City Life. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.